Hi there, I'm Trudy Gallagher and you're watching Cooking with the College. That is the New Brunswick College of Craft and Design. You may or may not know me. I am the Marketing and International Student Recruitment Coordinator. My office is in the basement of the main building across from Joe Arbo, and where the first year ceramics course is in the basement. Sometime come by and say hello, I'd love to see you. I'm choosing something really easy tonight, and I'm choosing that because I am not a cook. I'm a good jeweler, I'm a good friend, but I'm not a good cook. So this is a really easy setup tonight. We just need a couple of pans because I'm doubling this awesome recipe. We need some graham wafer biscuits. We have some aluminum, some butter, some brown sugar, coconut, and some chocolate chips. I've gone for milk chocolate because that may be my personal favorite. So, and we also have a pan that we're going to be making our toffee in. So this is a really easy recipe. Normally this recipe could be done with saltine crackers, but I decided, hey, it's Christmas, you guys are special, and we should go for the good stuff. So you can use saltine crackers, or you can use these honey graham wafers. You're going to take your first cookie sheet, you're going to line it with some aluminum foil, and then I'm just going to take my crackers and lay them out on the foil here. You don't need to go and be this extravagant, but as I said, I decided that, hey, you guys are worth it, so we're going to go with this. This is the version. This is called Christmas Crack, and you may be wondering why it's called Christmas Crack. It's not because there's anything illegal in it, but simply because this is so good that you cannot have just one little piece. It's kind of like trying to eat just one small potato chip. It doesn't work. You're not going to be able to just have one little piece of this either. So this isn't a good recipe if you're a diabetic, because if you have diabetes, this has got a lot of sugar in it, a lot of chocolate in it. I'm sure we could put just about any regular person into a diabetic coma with this. So it's called crack, I think probably because the base is crackers, and it's also called crack because you won't be able to stop eating it no matter what you do. I'm not sure exactly how to make this fit, so we're just going to make this up. So there's my first tray like this. I'm going to set it aside. It's covered in aluminum, and it's got all the graham crackers on it. So this is my second one that I'm going to prepare here. You do want aluminum foil because you don't want this to stick to your pan and burn on there, and then, you know, my solution is to simply go to the dollar store and buy a new pan. My husband's not a big fan of that, so I'm trying to protect his baking gear here. So this is my second pan. I'm going to lay out my crackers. I have had them done with the saltine crackers before. They are really yummy, but this is just an extra layer of richness. And we're probably going to have to open another package here. I did buy 2 boxes. I wasn't sure exactly how many this would take. It just said to grab a pan, put some foil on it, and cover them with crackers. So, you may notice I'm going to ask my videographer to take a look here, because I do have this really lovely helper. His name is Oscar. He's going into his 15th year, and Oscar is firmly convinced that we are trying to starve him to death and that he is hungry all the time. We tried to give him a chew stick and distract him a little bit, and it doesn't appear to have worked. I think he's wolfed the chew stick, and now he's here going, hey, you should feed me. But this is not a good product for a dog, and dogs are allergic to chocolate, so please don't give your dogs chocolate. I actually knew somebody that did contribute to the demise of their dog by giving it a little piece of chocolate every night. So these are going to be set over here, and they're going to be ready to go once we get our toffee made. So the next step is that we are going to take, this recipe calls for 1 cup of butter. I am going to make 2 cups of butter with 2 cups of brown sugar because, as I said, I am doubling this recipe. They also said in the recipe that you could use unsalted butter. I didn't want to do that because I like sweet and salty. So by using the salted butter, it's going to give me a little bit more of that sweet and salty taste. And Oscar is still circling the floor and really hoping that, what is this?
You measure solids with that. That's a liquid measuring cup.
Oh, okay. I'm giving you some cooking lessons and I'm getting cooking lessons. Evidently, this is for liquids and this is for solids?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yes, but luckily it's also marked on the container too that half of one of these is a quarter cup, the other half makes a half a cup, so two of these together makes 1 cup. Right?
Yep.
Is my addition right? Oh, thank God. Okay. Math is not my strong point either. And Oscar is still circling and hoping that maybe some of the butter or something is going to hit the ground for him. I did wash my hands, by the way. They are washed. They are clean. We have a gas stove, so I'm going to turn on the stove. And we are going to cook this over medium-high heat. Now, this is a point that normally Ken says that I'm not to be trusted because being a non-cook, I get bored with the whole process and I tend to walk away. So Ken is here tonight to remind me that I can't just walk away. I have to keep going with this video. And this next part is the only part that requires a great deal of intention because I do have to stand here and stir this for about 5 minutes once everything is melted and it starts to bubble. And we'll be showing you that as we go.
No. Put the scoop in the sugar.
Are you sure?
100%.
Okay, all right. There are also no knives with this video. I'm not very good with knives, and Ken can attest to that, having driven me to the hospital a few times. So Ken does a lot of the cooking, I do a lot of the eating, and sometimes I do cleanup. And then we have two little buddies that like to try and help with the dishwasher. So you're supposed to have a packed cup of brown sugar. This is pretty well packed. I can't get any more in there, and I'm going to add this to the butter. And as I said, I am doubling this recipe, so I'm going to be putting in 2 cups of brown sugar. I also chose a darker brown sugar because I like the taste. I think that it has a little bit more of a rich flavor to it than just having a really light sugar because it's been processed a lot more. So there we are in the pot there. It also says to put in a little tiny bit of salt, but we're already reusing salted butter, so I'm just going to put a pinch in. And this is now, we want the salt to melt. We want it to come to a little bit of, not a boil, but a little bit of bubbles, and supposedly it's going to become nice and thick, be more like a toffee consistency. So I'm not sure what you guys like for favorite treats, but this involves a lot of mine. I do like sugar. I have a really bad sugar tooth. I do love chocolate, which we're going to be putting on the top of this toffee. And the original recipe says you can do things like nuts.
Okay, keep going.
So we had a little bit of a glitch there. And one camera stopped recording, but you know what? This is real life. This is what happens in real life. Sometimes Trudy makes mistakes, sometimes Ken corrects her, and sometimes Oscar howls his head off, which hasn't started yet, but could still happen yet. So in here, we have the butter, we have the brown sugar, we want everything to get really mixed together. And I was talking about favorite treats, that I really love sugar, I really love chocolate. Some recipes will have you put nuts on the top of this. Some recipes will have you crush a candy bar, or you can buy toffee bits. But I decided to go for coconut because that is one of my all-time favorites, is coconut. So we're going to be putting chocolate and coconut on top of these Christmas crack bars. So this is the part that I'm not allowed to wander away. I'm supposed to stay here at the stove and give it my utmost attention, which I am doing, right?
Yes.
I get points for that, for not walking away. So this is the part that does take a little bit of time and a little bit of patience because we have to get it all melted, we have to get it all mixed together, and then it has to start to bubble. I think it's really sad this year that we don't get to have a Christmas potluck and we don't get to celebrate together as a college, but I'm hoping that you guys are following this Cooking with the College and finding some really great things that might interest you. My assistant sous chef just turned up the temperature because evidently it wasn't quite hot enough. Thank you, Ken. Otherwise, I might have been standing here for a very long time. And
As long as you're stirring it, it can be at a hot temperature, but you don't. If you walk away, you need to turn it down.
oh, okay, there you go. So hopefully we will manage to stay in the yellow zone and most everybody will at least get together with one other person or one other member for their family bubble and be able to do some cooking or share a meal together. But I really do miss having a Christmas potluck at the college, and I'm hoping that all of you are safe and going to have a wonderful holiday. I think assessments were finished yesterday and marks went in yesterday and today, so I think a lot of you will be at home getting some well-earned rest and relaxing, which is great. I don't know what you've got planned for over Christmas, but I don't have a lot of cooking and baking, to be honest. What I've got planned is a whole lot of crafts. I recently went online and learned how to make recycled denim feathers, which I'm going to be sewing to a pair of jeans. I've also been taking some fashion lessons with our fabulous tutor, Echo Chan. She is the tutor that helps out a lot of our fashion students. And I'm going to be having a lesson tomorrow on how to make my own appliques, do some machine embroidery, and apply it to different projects. So if...
Is it bubbling?
Not yet. It's not bubbling yet.
Yes, it is.
Well, it's supposed to be thick, and
okay.
It's not really thick yet, so...
Turn it down.
Okay. My sous chef says it's time for it to be turned down a little bit, but this is not thick enough. The recipe did say that it has to be thicker, more of a toffee consistency, and this is still pretty runny. So yeah, if you've seen me around, you may have seen that I've been into trying some embossed and decorated jeans. I have a lovely little machine that pops pearls onto things. I also have a hot fix rhinestone applicator, and I like to do that, and I'm really interested in doing these upcycled denim feathers, and I'm really interested in tomorrow's lesson with Echo to learn how to do embroidery patches and how to make my own embroidery patches as opposed to always buying them and putting them onto things. So I am really getting into the swing of going to thrift stores and buying clothes that are still in really good shape and that don't deserve to go to the landfill, and doing some embellishing and decorating with them. And I'm finding it to be a great deal of fun. It gives me a lot of satisfaction to embellish and do some things to my clothing and know that I'm also being good for the environment as well. So this is starting to bubble, which you can see in around the edges here, which is what they said in the recipe to look for, was to look for that bubbling in the pot, and that's definitely happening. I'm assuming this is the point where I have to be really careful so I don't burn the bottom. Ken's nodding yes, absolutely. So this is not the time to go wander off, talk to the dogs, or get involved in something else. Oh my gosh, I know you're not here and you can't smell this. Isn't that going to be great in the future? They say in the future we're going to be able to go to the movie theater when we can get back together again, and that we'll be able to not only feel the sound surround, which we've already experienced, but they will also have smell around, and we'll be able to get a smell. So if you were here in my kitchen right now, you'll be getting a fabulous smell of toffee in the process, and it is delicious. Very delicious. And you will notice I've been really good and I haven't been sampling as I go, which is also another thing that I think maybe drives Ken a bit crazy when he's cooking, is that I have my fingers in the way of things I shouldn't, trying to sample as he's cooking. I don't think you'd be my first choice for sous chef, would I? So we've got a good boil going on here, and I think this is starting to thicken up. They did say it would take about 5 minutes, and you know that is the one thing I forgot to do was turn on the timer. Do you have any sense, Ken, of how long this has been?
Yeah, it's been about 5 minutes.
Okay. They said 5 to 8 minutes, so yay. Thank you for being my personal timer. It's really smelling good, and I can sort of feel as I'm cooking it. I'm sure you guys can see when I'm holding this up that it is starting to thicken up. It's not as runny as it quite was. I guess if you're making candy or fudge, that one of the secrets to making good candy or fudge is to know how to bring things up to temperature. And if we were making a complicated candy or even a homemade chocolate, we would probably have a candy thermometer. But this recipe didn't call for it. It just said to eyeball it, give it sort of a time, and sort of go by feel as well. And the smell is absolutely divine. So I think I'm just going to keep going for a couple more minutes here just to thicken it up. How does it look to you, Mr. Chef?
I've never made this before in my life.
Okay, I should mention that doubling the recipe, I'm kind of wondering, okay, I hope we stay in the yellow zone so that I can properly divide this up and put it into shareable quantities, because Ken is a vegan and I am not, so this is not something he would eat because it does have butter and it does have animal products in it.
You could make it vegan.
How would you make it vegan?
You would use margarine instead of butter.
Okay, but what about the crackers?
You can get vegan crackers.
Okay, what about the chocolate?
You can get vegan chocolate.
Okay, well there you go. Should you have a desire to make this vegan, I guess you could buy vegan crackers. Ken says we could use margarine instead of butter, and we could make sure that we bought chocolate that was vegan chocolate and not all the bad stuff.
Vegan margarine, by the way.
Oh, okay. Vegan margarine. Sorry. I guess vegan butter is a contradiction in terms.
No, you said margarine, but there's different margarines. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Do you have a recommendation for a good vegan margarine?
Basil.
Basil? That's your favorite?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, not only could this concoction put any normal person into a diabetic shock, I'm sure that there's quite a lot of fat in here as well. And I don't know if you've looked at research lately, but they're actually saying that it is not fat that causes our arteries to harden, but it is actually sugar that causes our arteries to harden. So this is a good artery hardening recipe, that's for sure.
Covering all our bases there.
Yeah, we are. We're getting everything for everybody here in this. So what do you think, Ken? Is this thicker? Or does it still need a bit longer?
I think that's good because when it cools down, it'll harden up.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to turn off the stove now, and I assume I have to work fairly quickly before this cools down, because what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to try and pour it equally over our 2 pans of crackers. So crackers. One little hole there. Not sure that's really going to make much of a difference, but we'll try that. So I'm going to pour this and try and pour it evenly over my crackers. Does that look like half to you, Ken?
Yeah.
Kinda?
Kinda.
A little bit more in the first one. Okay. And to make it easier, I'm trying to get it all over nice and evenly. Go back and put a little bit more here. Of course, if I made it in 2 separate batches, it probably would have made it a bit easier to measure out and see how we're doing. But I didn't. And I'm just going to try and get the last little bit of the pan here, not waste all that wonderful butter and wonderful coffee. also like this recipe because compared to a lot of other things, there's not a great deal of time investment. It says that really from beginning to end, it should only take you a half an hour, and that's just explaining everything and being really generous.
Use this to spread it out?
Do you think I should use this?
A
Okay.
little bit bigger.
Ken is recommending that I use the spatula.
Use the back end of it.
The back end of it?
Yeah, just
All
like that.
right. I'm very grateful that Ken is being my videographer and that he's also giving me a few tips and keeping me on track, because cooking with patience is not one of my best qualities. So we're just trying to smooth this all over and get it all over the crackers. How am I doing, Ken?
Great.
What kind of a mark would you give me on this?
Oh, A plus.
A plus so far? I know probably for a lot of you, the last thing you want to talk about is marks, having had assessment just be yesterday. You just want to relax and take it easy. We're supposed to be getting a little bit of snow tomorrow, so that's good. You guys don't have to be in the school tomorrow. I think this is probably a good consistency because it's already starting to set.
Looks good.
And feel a lot more like a candy-like texture, if you see that, which I just put in the corner there. Looks good to you?
Yep.
Okay, so now what we're supposed to do is put this in the oven, and we're supposed to bake it for 7 minutes.
Sideways.
Sideways?
Yep, it won't fit in front to back.
Okay.
Watch out.
Look out, Oscar.
Oscar's hoping she drops it.
Do you think I can put one on one rack and one on the other?
That's what you're gonna have to do.
Okay, all right. Yeah, Oscar is hoping that we can drop it, but hopefully the heat is deterring him just a little bit. I know the cold is sure deterring him. Neither one of them wants to go out in this cold. So I'm gonna put the timer on.
Timer, 7 or 8, and start. Nope, that's 70.
Okay.
Hit timer again.
Okay.
Hit timer. It's minutes only. 7.
7.
Start.
Okay.
No, you just set the clock.
Oh.
Hit timer.
Okay, timer. 7.
And start. There you go.
Okay. Now's the part where I can relax for a few minutes. So.
Cut.
Oh, hello. Just a little bit of taste testing going on. I'm just checking to make sure that the toffee is quite firm, which it is, so, you know, you're gonna have to take my word for it. I firmly believe the pot should be cleaned out at this point.
So you're telling me that melted butter and sugar taste good?
Yeah. Okay, and there's our timer.
Hit timer. Cancel off.
Okay, so now what we're gonna do is take out our cookie tins, lay them on top, and add the chocolate.
Watch out, Oscar.
Look at Oscar, you're in the way, Bubba. Ooh, this looks yummy. And gooey.
That doesn't smell good at all.
No, not at all. No. Might have to make it again. It's good that you made a double batch. So this is what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. It's nice and bubbly, which is again what the recipe said it should look like. And they said dark chocolate, but my favorite is light chocolate, so I'm using President's Compliments milk chocolate, which, by the way, were on sale tonight. It was a couple dollars off, so that made it a little bit cheaper. And also the graham wafers were cheaper tonight as well. You got 2 for a certain price instead of the regular price. So I'm just putting chocolate across the top of here. Now, one of the recipes said not to use chocolate chips. They said to use semi-sweet chocolate or to chop up some chocolate bars. And when I did have a little bit of investigating further to find out why, what they said was that chocolate chips, whoop, no, not for you, puppy. They said that chocolate chips actually have a little bit of a waxy exterior on them so that they won't stick to things and that they will stay intact. But another recipe said to me, all we have to do is pop these back in the oven for 2 minutes and it will cause them to melt enough to stick to the actual toffee. So that is what we're gonna try to do.
You turn the oven off.
Oh, gotta turn the oven back on.
350.
Yeah. Ugh.
It's still hot.
Yes, the oven is still hot, and Oscar can smell what you guys can't smell and is getting a little insistent that maybe he should be doing some taste testing, but we're not going to let that happen. Sorry, buddy. And I'm not sure how much chocolate. It just said sprinkle some chips on the top, so... Oops. Guess I have to get that out of there before you make any dinner. Otherwise, we're going to have milk chocolate chips everywhere. Oh, maybe there was a measurement on this. 2 cups. I don't think it really matters. It just really matters how much chocolate you like, and I happen to like chocolate, so this is okay.
I can tell. I think there's more chocolate than toffee.
Really? I think this is a very forgiving recipe. I think there's a certain amount of eyeballing it that can be done, don't you think? Usually Ken is better than I am with eyeballing things, but hey, you know, it's chocolate. Too much chocolate can't be a bad thing, can it? I better really hope that we stay in yellow zone too, because Ken can't eat this, not only because it's not vegan, but he has an allergy to chocolate. So years ago when we started playing with his triggers and figuring out what some of his triggers were, you know, some of his triggers were like, oh, he couldn't drink. And I thought, well, okay, I can do that in solidarity. I can help you out with that. We've since learned that he's allergic to some preservatives, and he's also allergic to some cheeses because of the preservatives. And I was like, sure, I can do that. But then we found out that Ken was allergic to chocolate. Who knew? And that was where I said, sorry, love you lots, but you're on your own when it comes to chocolate. So, you know what? There's only a little tiny left in this bag, so I'm going to go ahead and put the chocolate on here. So that was a whole complete 775 grams, and I'm going to pop these back in the oven for 2 minutes because,
What's it, Oscar?
as I said, that was what one recipe said, how you make the chocolate stick to the toffee and get rid of that light dusting of wax that's on there. So hopefully this is going to work. And if it doesn't work, that just means that, oh, I might not be able to share it with everybody. So you might want to take notice of where my office is, because I'm in the basement with a lot of Christmas crack. Basement of the main building. So I also bought some shredded coconut. I probably don't need anywhere near this amount of coconut, but this just means that I'm going to call it my storm coconut, that I'll be stocked up if there's a storm over Christmas. I also am going to have to wash this mitt off too, because there's quite a bit of chocolate on the thumb there. So this was just popped back in for 2 minutes. You turned the timer on for me, did you?
Yes.
Oh, good, because I didn't. I totally forgot. Oh well. And it said just to keep an eye on it and make sure that it's not quite melting yet, to just let the chocolate chips melt over the surface of the toffee. So that went by fast. That was 1 minute. We're down into the last minute now. So after this, when they come out of the oven, we're just going to put them on top of the stove and quickly put a little bit of coconut all over it. Then it says you should let them cool down to room temperature, which will take about, they said could take an hour to 2 hours. And then after that, you can put this in cookie tins with wax paper, and it can actually sit on the counter, or can be kept in the fridge for 2 or 3 weeks. But somehow I have a feeling that maybe it won't be around for 2 or 3 weeks. That, you know, depending on how good it is, or even if it's not that good, I may have to taste test it with a few friends. See, there's advantages to choosing your bubble. The people in my bubble are happy right now. But this is Oscar, who's very enthusiastically cleaning the floor. This is Pepe. Pepe is from Mexico. We found him being thrown in the garbage can. We brought him home. And I'm just going to stick a little community thing in there to remember to adopt, don't shop. Because this poor little guy, I don't know what his life would have been like. His tail was broken when he was thrown in the garbage, and we hauled him out. So this is what our cookie sheets look like. I don't know, Ken, do you think they should be in there for just...
Well, it got the waxy bit off the chocolate. Do you want them completely melted or just...
I'm going to leave them for another 30 or 40 seconds, and then I will use the spatula to... No?
Okay, you can. It'll be a mess.
Well, that's what it said on here, is that you could use a spatula to help
Smooth
spread it around a little bit.
Okay.
And then someone will have to do cleanup. Somebody's going to have to rescue the chocolate. No chocolate will be left behind in the making of this
And how many
video.
people in this household can do that? One.
Oh well. There are other people here that wish they could, but do you think that's been 30 or 40 seconds so far?
Give it a few more.
Okay, I'll give it a few more. Actually, even if we could share, I'm not sure that Pepe would really like this, because we found that he has very, very discriminating Mexican taste. I don't know if it's Mexican taste or just Pepe taste, because Pepe doesn't like cheese. He doesn't like a lot of things that Oscar will eat. Oscar here will pretty much physically attack you when you're in the kitchen cutting peppers, because peppers and Brussels sprouts are two of his favorite things to eat. The other thing is that last year we were both accusing each other of eating all the ripe tomatoes off of our cherry tomato plants. And then we decided to sit back and set up our camera, and we discovered that there was a little white fluffy four-legged bug who was actually trying to climb the tomato plants, and once the red ones were all gone, the green ones were fair game. Oh, and this year he ate the tops completely off our bell pepper plants. You would have thought a deer went out and did it, but no, it was an Oscar. So this is what our trays look like coming out of the oven. They're not completely melted in, but I also don't want to burn this too brown. Oh my, I'm gonna have to lick that one off too. So I'm just gonna take the spatula. I'm not sure, Ken. They're not really melting in, are they? Well, there they are. I think Ken might be right, that we'll just sort of give them a... It also mentioned in another recipe that you could take a little butane torch to the top of these and melt it down a bit. Probably not the best thoughts, right? We don't want to set the kitchen on fire. No, I think that was Ken saying that no, I'm not going to be allowed to use the butane torch to do this. So.
The chocolate has melted into the toffee, so I think they're okay.
Okay, good. So this is where you can put your own topping. I saw some recipes where they had Smarties, they had chopped nuts, they had bits of candy bar, but I'm a real coconut fanatic. I believe that coconut could go with practically anything, so I'm going to put coconut on the tops of this. One of the things I love about going to Mexico to visit my family is that coconut is a really big part of Mexican culture. You get these really wonderful, they're just cheap Mexican coconut cookies, especially at saints' parades and festivals. And they're not gourmet, they're not top quality, but I absolutely love them. And usually when I'm walking along the Malecon, which is the boardwalk in my mom's little village, there are candy vendors that sell wrapped blocks of coconut. And one of the common things they seem to put with coconut there is pineapple, and like a pineapple juice, not chunks of pineapple, but it tastes really good. So do you think I should take the spatula and smooth this down a bit, Ken?
I think you'd need to use a fresh spatula that's not.
Okay, so I'm just tamping it down a little bit to make sure that all the coconut sticks. Although if the coconut falls off, I assure you there won't be any problems with that. I'm quite sure that between Oscar and I, we can manage to pick up the coconut. So this might not look like Christmas crack that other people have done, or a picture in a fancy magazine, but this is my version of Christmas crack. And unfortunately, I can't test it right now and let you know exactly how good it is, because it does have to cool down. It's far too eaty right now. Oscar wants to know if it can't cool down a little faster, but he's not getting any no matter what he says. So thank you very much for joining me on Cooking with the College. I hope that you have an awesome Christmas, and if you feel so inclined, that you give a try to this super easy Christmas crack. See ya!